What's up, YouTube? This is Dave's Had Enough 187. This is another video to do with my weekly review for the Exorcist TV series, Episode 4, Chapter 4, The Movable Feast review. And another video from Dave. And yeah, pretty much it's my weekly review for the Exorcist TV series, which I had done last night, but I wasn't happy with it, so I'm redoing it today. I want to say first, I appreciate everybody that has checked out, the prior Exorcist reviews, even American Horror Story. They're doing very well. I couldn't be any more pleased with them. This is something that I've been wanting to do with this channel for a long time, and it's moving. This channel is moving in the direction that I wanted it to move. It started out primarily as a gaming channel, but just with the whole gaming scene right now, I'm not really feeling it as much as I, usually do. I like doing the podcast, I like doing my streaming, but the other shit is just, I don't like getting around people that are just fucking bitching and moaning all day. There's bitching and moaning with this stuff. I see a lot of people bitching about the show with reviews. People are upset about, it isn't there isn't enough jump scares. What the fuck? If they put jump scares all throughout this thing, then people be complaining there's too many fucking jump scares. You got people complaining that it isn't identical to the original Exorcist. If they'd done that, they ain't gonna fucking top the original Exorcist. The creator of the show said that. It was not his idea to do that. You'll never beat a movie like that. Over 4 fucking decades, nothing has touched that movie. Nothing. Nothing is on the level of that movie. So why is this guy gonna make a TV series on Fox and try to directly copy that? You can't do half that shit on TV that they did in that movie, especially with her masturbating with a fucking cross. I mean, he's not going to top that. That movie was it's a timeless movie. It'll never be topped. It's like fucking Jaws. You're not going to top Jaws. They've tried many other shark movies. They never topped it. Good shark movies like Deep Blue Sea and stuff like that, but they never topped it. Same thing with The Exorcist. Even the sequels to The Exorcist weren't even nothing compared to the original Exorcist. So this guy was smart with what he thought of. He's like, I'll do a TV series, do something in the same universe 40 years later, and go from there. He makes it aware that happened, but it's a new take, like a modern day Exorcist. They're doing things. There's a lot of shit that goes on in this show that, you can tell was from the original. And I like the new spin that they did on Captain Howdy. It didn't dawn on me till this episode, but Captain Howdy is actually the salesman. In the original Exorcist with Regan, she started talking to Captain Howdy on the Ouija board. He was real friendly at first, then shit starts changing, Then he's not so howdy. He pretty much becomes rowdy. He's not Captain Howdy no more. And it's kind of like how the salesman is. He's cool at first, he's nice to her, tells her she's beautiful and all this bullshit. And then she doesn't give in to him, doesn't go where he wants her to go, and he fucking turns fucking violent, and he's not the nice salesman that she thought. So yeah, that didn't dawn on me till this episode. I was like, oh, that's like the nowadays Captain Howdy. He's a salesman. But the only thing is, I wish they didn't make him like this old guy. It gives you like a perverted feeling, especially when she's making out with him on the subway. That's something I didn't care too much for. With last week's episode. But I thought it was a great episode. I thought this episode was better, though. I enjoyed this one more. I think there was a lot of stuff that needed to happen in this episode, which pretty much I'm going to go over right now. I'm going to go over the key parts, give you my thoughts, knock it out, give it a score, call it a day. So yeah, basically it starts off with a breakfast, and pretty much you got Casey walking down. She sees her mother's cooking, and her mother never cooks, and she's like, you're cooking? Because her mother's got money. They probably don't need to do all that shit, and pretty much she's like, yeah, what's wrong with that? I'm just cooking your favorite omelet. And when she cracks it open, it's like some fucking little black creature that's sitting there, and it's like, and she's smiling, and then she tells her to go sit with the rest of them. And Kat's over there, my bad, not Julia. Kat's over there in her Juilliard outfit that she wore to the wake of her friend that died, and she's acting kind of snobby to Casey. And the dad's all like cheerful, and he's normal. He's like, oh, I'm just working, And she could tell there's something off. All of a sudden, the salesman comes up, and he's like looking like fucking rugged, run down actually, all like disfigured, starting to look disfigured and different looking. he's not the same. He's burnt up. He's missing, his teeth are kind of fucking weird. You could tell he's like decaying. That's what I meant to say. So basically, he's telling her, give in to me, and this will stop. He's got her in her own like hallucination of a fucking nightmare, and he's basically telling her, you give in to me, say one simple word, yes, and this will stop, And then she says, I'm not giving in to you, you lied, this isn't how it was supposed to be. And he just slaps the shit out of her. And before he slaps her, she's like kind of like stuck to the ground. Like she tries to get up, and there's basically these like black things, like vines running up her leg, keeping her attached to the ground. And then after he slaps the shit out of her, she's kind of attached to the ground, that way. And then she gets her one arm loose, and he basically tells her to stop resisting, and he steps on her foot, or something along the lines of that, and burns her, and she's pretty much blood comes out. It's a really fucked up scene. So after that, it directly goes to the hospital, and basically Casey is like basically getting like restrained by the fucking nurses and doctors. And it's actually like in her own head and her hallucination, she's in a nightmare of what's actually happening in real life. So she's in her head having it really bad, and in real life having it really bad. So basically we learn after last week, after the subway, this is another thing I thought was kind of ridiculous. She literally like mauled somebody to death like a fucking tiger. Everybody recorded that shit, on the subway, and pretty much almost like dislocated the guy's fucking jaw, and she gets 72 hours committed. That's all, at the local hospital. If that happened in real life, that girl would get fucking 72 years at the local psychiatric prison. Even though it was like, you could say it was self-defense, but she like, if self-defense gets carried away like it did to almost murder, things fall under different categories. Yeah, they could claim she's insane. She'd go to like a psychiatric, prison or something, but basically, they're just giving her 72 hours, being committed, and they're just going to look over her. And basically it was just a plan for the devil to get her alone, because pretty much you got Father Marcus and Father Tomas around, and the devil knows that's a threat. He wants to basically fully get into her, and get her possessed, so he has the time to do it with her being in the hospital and putting her through some serious horrible shit. Even gets to a point where he puts a feeding tube in her, because she's not eating, the devil's not letting her eat, or the demon. And basically, she's awake getting a feeding tube, and that'd be fucking horrible. So basically, you have all that going on. Even things like where the nurse is like poking her with needles, and he's holding onto her arm, and basically making it where they can't find a vein. And it's just horrible. It'd be a horrible fucking time. You can't. I would want to be in that position. He's making it so miserable, all her hallucinations, just how she's feeling, everything, just so she says yes and gives in to him so he can fully possess her. He's saying it will get better, but he's going to take her body fully over, and he needs her, to allow him to do that by saying yes. So you have all that going on with Casey, pretty much. This episode with Father Marcus, he's going around pretty much finding, help, from the back of the tickets from last week. And he's going to different places. Ends up finding Mother Bernadette, which basically she has her own way of doing exorcisms where all these nuns get around each other, put the guy or girl that's possessed in the middle, and basically, start singing like prayer songs. And basically, Mother Bernadette will basically go up to them and try to like hold their head, and she'll get like fucking slapped the shit out. She has all these scars. And then eventually she'll like get them and hold on to them, bring them close, and the demon eventually, leaves the person. And she has her own way of doing it, which she actually teaches Father Marcus, how to do it too. And he gets fucking slapped the shit out of. And then he comes at the demon like he normally would, like grabbing and aggressive. And then she like looks at him, and then he gets caring and brings the demon in. And actually gets the guy, cured where he's not, of a demon. And it's actually, she helps him get his faith back. So I'm assuming with the previews of next week, with how they're padding up Casey's room, I guess they're going to chain her to the ground. Because he did say it's more of like an aggressive demon than what he's ever seen. So it's probably not going to be that easy just to hold, Casey. I don't think it's going to be that easy. But yeah, you have that going on next week. So that's basically with Father Marcus. He even meets these other people that are on like this haunted bus tour that I thought was really funny. And the lady's like telling the story of H.H. Holmes, and her husband, I guess, is a bus driver, and he's like, ah! He's like screaming. I thought it was hilarious. I like that part. This show does have humor too, and I like it. So pretty much that's all what goes on with Father Marcus. Then with Father Tomas, you have pretty much the whole thing with Jessica. Jessica comes back. Her husband supposedly is cheating on her now. She don't feel bad about the letters. She's staying at Father Tomas's place now, and she's trying to like get him, I think, to sleep with her, and he won't do it. And he tells her actually a little bit more about Casey. Well, he never told her about Casey, but he actually tells her what he's going through with Casey a little bit. And she basically says something like, how far are you willing to go on other things? Basically, something along the lines of that, like basically telling him, let's see if we can get this going. If you're going to break the rules for Casey with the church. So then they don't end up sleeping together. She stays the night, leaves another note, and leaves. Another thing I thought was interesting with Father Tomas, that lady that made the donation, his nephew goes with him to see her. And then the nephew ends up going into the room of her husband, and he's like looking at the kid all crazy and sticking his tongue out. So I don't know if there's more to that lady. Like if she's I think that lady's bad, and she's trying to get into the church with her money. There might be more to her than meets the eye, I think. I don't think she's as nice as as basically you would think she is. But I think I covered everything. I did, like I said, it didn't dawn on me with the whole Captain Howdy thing. But that's Captain Howdy. That's who that is. That's the nowadays Captain Howdy. It should have dawned on me a long time ago. Because I'm like, I just don't like that they picked a old man to be the demon or devil. I just think that's kind of like perverted. I don't know. Like she's walking up and just supposedly kissing an old man on the subway. But I really enjoyed the episode. I liked it better than last week. I gave the first review a 9. I gave the second one a 9.3. Last week, an 8.7. I did think that I liked last week's episode, even though it was slow, and this one was slow too. But I think this episode was a little bit better. Last week, like I said, 8.7. I think this one's an 8.9. I really enjoyed it. I like the series. Everybody, you got some people that like it, and you got a lot of people complaining. They say it's not scary enough, like I said, jump scares. If they put jump scares in it, then you'd be having people complain about jump scares. People are never happy. I'm happy. This is actually like the sequel that I would have liked from the other sequels we got. I mean, look at the second Exorcist. That was fucking horrible. This is a lot better than that. And it's a fucking TV series. You get 13 episodes of it, I'm just worried. The only thing I'm worried about this show, like I said, the exorcism is moving really fast. Are they going to do the exorcism for the rest of the show? For the rest of because there's okay, what episode we're on? We're on next week will be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 30. We got 9 more episodes, I believe. I think it's 9. And they're going to drag that out that long? No, they're not going to. It's going to be something bigger with the people that got sacrificed. With all the people that got pretty much brutally murdered and they took their organs. There's something bigger there that's going to go on with the show, especially with the Pope in town. Something that they're planning, because the exorcism's moving really fast, and there's got to be a reason for that. I don't think we're going to get our traditional, her in the bed shake, and we're not going to see that, but we're going to see some crazy shit in that room. They made it like Exorcist-proof or something. They're just like, yeah, we're just going to board, we're going to take Casey's bed and use the mattress and put that over there, put some pillows, and they make this, like, unofficial exorcism room that they're going against the church, And I did like at the end, like, when Father Tomas asked Father Marcus, how do you feel? He's like a mountain. I like that. But this is my week's review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry, it's more stuff I'd like to go on about, but I only got 15 minutes to do the review. Hopefully my camera, they'll fix it with an update. I tried some other software with it. I just didn't like it. I'm not a tech person. I'm not good with all that shit, but I've been having issues where it don't want to fucking work. It keeps on saying I need QuickTime or some QuickTime update. I go I click on the link and it sends me to some fucking screen, some fucking page that isn't there. It says, oops, wrong page or something like it. That it says. I don't, it's bullshit. You pay all this money for shit, it don't work. That's my review, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments section. More videos come. Thank you, YouTube.